All right, guys. So make sure we give you guys some time. Of course, we were getting things together as well. So make sure you guys are letting us know where you guys are watching us from, all that other good stuff. While you guys are, you know,
Getting in the room,
in the quarantine part and all that other stuff. But we're going to talk about this is our month of health.
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure you share. We're going to talk about physical health today, how physical health can affect your relationships, not
Right.
just your not just your relationships with your spouse, but we're going to talk about that too, but how it affects your relationship with yourself, and
Yes.
how you can just be better, take better care of yourself, take better care of your physical health, take better
Mm.
care of your health so you can better care of your relationships. Okay. I feel like my mouth was moving really, really fast. So yeah, make sure you guys are sharing, because sharing is
Is
caring.
caring.
And yeah, so and let us know what things you guys are doing. We are. You have any questions? Make sure you put them in the comments, in the chat room, all that other good stuff. We're gonna try to get to as many as we can at the end of the live. So yeah, let us know where you guys are coming from, or you are watching us from. So yeah.
We got London in the house.
Alhamdulillah. 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 So yeah, yeah, this physical health thing is it's serious. I was thinking
Mhm.
now because with the with the quarantine, I'm not laughing at the quarantine. I gotta laugh. I gotta explain to you guys why I'm laughing, because I'm like, that's not funny. I know you guys are like, that's not funny. The thing
We're
is
here.
that I saw a meme where it said after the quarantine, and it had like two fat people, like really, really big, and it was like, now how we're going to get out. They were looking at the door and was like, now how we're going to get out, because it's a lot of stress going on,
Mhm.
a lot of
Mhm.
anxiety. Some people are taking it, in stride,
Right.
being not able to do a lot of stuff, with the shutdowns of things. So because it's not where we are right now, it's not to the point where it's you can't come out your
It's not
house.
so rigid.
You know what I'm
It's not
saying? You have
LA.
some places that's like that.
Yeah.
And you have some people who that's how they get their fitness on. They go to the
Yep.
gym, they go take walks around the neighborhood, they do these different things with each other.
Mhm.
I know with um, brand new moms, some of their main thing is putting their baby in a stroller
And
and
going,
and
yes.
going.
Mhm.
So
Right.
it can be difficult, and some people are taking it in stride. Some people aren't. Some people are stress eating, which do affect your physical health. Some people are not moving as much, being as active as they need to be
Exactly.
or should
Exactly.
be, and it affects your health. It affects what you can do.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was just thinking about something. Okay, you guys, we have small children, and these small children like to, okay, well, our husband like to stand at the bottom of the stairs, and they like to jump, and he catches them. So
Mhm.
these type of
And
things
I like to walk the
happen,
other
right?
way.
Right.
Mhm.
So he like to catch them, or maybe he don't like to catch them, but they, just he like the way, the way they love it and enjoy it and everything like that, because these boys can
No,
be heavy.
I can't be like
However,
that.
the thing is that you have a lot of fathers, a lot of people, period, are playing, are being really active with their children, or trying to
Yes.
be active, or should be active. And then if they aren't taking care of their health, if they're jacked up, their bodies are aching and everything like that, they can't do the things that they used to do. They can't play with their children like they want to play with them, or
Or
like
their
their children
grandchildren.
want, or their grandchildren, or like
Children,
their
we're up there.
children, right, right, and like their children want to play with them.
Right.
And when it comes down to it, it gets to the point where I'm sitting there looking at IG, and YouTube is right there. But the thing is that when the kids don't understand that part, that's that part I was thinking. I said how it affects your relationships, like even a relationship with your spouse. Yeah, you can be aching and everything like that. There's only so much aching after a while, or yes, okay. We should be very understanding. I'm speaking as a human being with emotions and feelings and needs and certain things like that. When it comes to certain things, it's like, okay, if you aren't feeling the best physically, it affects your attitude, it affects your emotions, it affects the stuff that I can do or will do or willing to do or anything like that. And so it's a real serious thing where it can affect the quality of your relationship.
Yeah, that's true. I know it to be true. I always wanted to come from this place of I want to be able to play with my children and my grandchildren. If somebody decides they really, really, really want to get married of our older daughters, I want to be able to play with them. I don't want to just be sitting there and life is happening around me. You know, I want to be involved. You know, I want to be. You know, I don't want to talk about what I don't want. I want to talk about what I want. So it just hits my subconscious because I want to play with them. I want to be active. I want to run with them and help them learn how to ride their bike and all this stuff like that. I don't want them to have to, I don't want the fact that I didn't take care of me to affect their quality of life. And I was doing a bang up job. I had myself on the way to the wheelchair, you know, because I have cardiology issues, but I found that, okay, if I have that issue, what's the problem? One of my major problems is staying hydrated. So before I get to have anything fun to eat that I like, I always have to knock down, and I don't like water like that, knock down 12, 20 ounces of water. Then I get to, you know, eat what I'd like. But I found that I said, if I don't feel good, it's because it's my fault. That's the problem.
I remember hearing someone was talking about this disease. It was like dis-ease, your body not being at ease. And me, I was diagnosed years ago with rheumatism. So when I get flares.
And what is it? For those that are not.
Yeah, do I even really know what it is like that? But no, it's a joint, like a joint disorder. So there are things that can cause my joints to stiffen up, to swell, and a lot of pain and things as far as that. And I found out what causes it to, or what can create it to flare is poor eating habits. Like with me, I realized, like, I have not been on any type of medication for my rheumatism. Now, my grandmother has it, my mother has it. So my grandmother has rheumatoid arthritis, my mom has rheumatoid arthritis. Both of them take medication for it. I don't, alhamdulillah, I'm blessed and not. But one of the things is, I know how to eat properly. And I know that I don't always eat properly. And if I get a flare, I'm like, okay, what did I eat? What have I been eating? It's not just the one bad thing. It's the meals over time or the crap over time that has caused those issues. And then I'm jacked up, hurt in the bed, can't take care of the family, different things like that. Because
it's very painful.
I didn't take care of, my physical health.
Yeah, it's no joke. I know a sister that was born with rheumatoid, and just a little brush on the shoulder would just, it hurts very bad, when you have it at that age. And you've told them how to eat. Your mother and your grandmother, she's told them how to eat. So, we spread the knowledge if we can. Come on in. There he is.
Sound like a pizza.
I was saying that you taught your mom and your grandmother how to eat as well. So a lot of our physical health is a decision that we make to, do our research and want to change. Because we were having a conversation, I don't know when that was, sometime late last year, about their health. Because my brother's type 2 diabetic, but then I catch him at Woodman's, which is a local warehouse box store here in the Midwest, and full of stuff he's not supposed to have. And it was awesome because he could have ran into anybody, but he ran into the person that was going to fuss. Because I know you got type 2 diabetes, and why you got, creamsicles up in here, I don't know, bruh. So, it's a decision. It's a choice. If you want to feel better, you got to decide that you're going to do the work to do so.
And don't place blame on and we have that where we've seen it and we've had it in our families where they'll say, well, I'm just our family is like that. We got this in our family. It's like these different things that is in the family. Now, don't get me wrong. It could be some hereditary type issues that may arise, but a lot of the stuff is what we are doing to ourselves or what we're not doing for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. That's facts.
Indeed. So, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dawn, Cherie, what she says something like Queens. So she's not talking to me. No problem. She probably didn't see me. I wasn't here. Fatimah, Queen Sheila Dodd here in the mill.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Of course, our sister Zaina, representing out on the East Coast of Philly, out in London. Alhamdulillah. Definitely appreciate you. We're not going to be very long on today's one, is because it's not that we don't know what to do when it comes to our physical health.
Mm-hmm.
We have more information at our fingertips, more information in our pockets that we can just Google or even say with our voices than we've ever had throughout the history of humankind.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the information is not the problem. So to sit here and think you're going to get new information right now how to deal with your physical health, nope, we're not going to do that.
History, yo.
You know what I'm saying? That's not, that's not fair. That's not real. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. So it's not that we don't have the information. It's just that we don't do consistently what we know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. So it goes into a necessity thing or a discipline thing within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, what are some small, simple things that we can do consistently that can help improve our health?
Remember, oh my gosh, I was watching or listening, maybe it was not just a TED Talk, no, it wasn't a TED Talk, but it was talking about being able to replace, the reason why it's not always about willpower. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
we don't do what we consistently know, which is true. But the thing is, why don't we do that? A lot of times we have this association to the bad stuff, but it's a good association to this bad stuff.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So it's like cake.
Y'all were talking about that before today. Today, there are many people that are celebrating what they call the Easter holiday. We used to do that before we were Muslims. So nobody cared for the boiled eggs, no matter the dying and all that. But those chocolate eggs, yep. It was all, and still, tomorrow, which they half off tomorrow.
I
might catch some Easter eggs tomorrow or something. Right. What? So, it's the chocolate. So it's that association you talk about, that neuro association.
Yeah. But you think about the fun, you think about the good, the togetherness, that stuff. You think about cake. When you think about cake, what do you think about? Cake. Birthdays. It's like this fun time.
Birthday, I think about yellow cake. Chocolate frosting.
Well, yeah, yellow cake. Shut up.
I'm dying. You say you think about cake.
Yeah, hey. That's true too. But for me, that neuroassociation comes with making it with my grandma. So it's like, these different things where it's like, this stuff. So the thing is like, okay, what is the neuroassociation? Like with our children now, they have, they get cake and candy and different things like that, but they have a big neuroassociation with healthier foods and healthier options. And even when it comes to working out and everything, like the little ones, even they want, what did you say about when the boys were teaching the boys working out?
Teaching my older boys how to put some weight on it. That started coming to the early teens and stuff now. So they're more conscious of their appearance and they need to put some muscle on and everything, even though I just hit a bunch of fat.
They're snatched.
But so I show them how to work out. And then younger sons, 4, 7, and 8, were in the gym the following day with the little weights, like 5 pounds, 2.5 pounds. And they're like trying to do dumbbell presses and you know what I'm saying? Hey, copy the good stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. That association is like, okay, I want to be like this and it's fun and it's together and my brothers and and Abu and so it's this stuff where it's like, okay, change your association. Make the healthy. People think of healthy stuff. Sometimes the association is like, oh, it's boring. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's hard. Oh, it's work. Okay, yeah, that's true. It could be work. Some stuff can be boring, but the thing is, are you going to change that association where you're going to make it fun? You're going to make it where, yes, it's going to take work, but it's fun because I'm doing it with people that I care about or anything like that. So, I mean, just
add seasoning.
And
non-sugar sweeteners.
Yeah.
Like you can still have sweet, like black coffee, right? I have not been a coffee drinker my entire life, right? Until like last week. Now I've had different coffees, but I would really only drink coffee to stay away from the caffeine in it. I just had a neuro association to it. I didn't like it growing up or anything, so I wasn't. But with monk fruit, doesn't increase your doesn't have any type of insulin release and stuff like that. No glycemic index, nothing. So it's good, boom, sweet, and it's good, and it tastes delicious.
Mhm.
No problem. You could use it while if you're doing a traditional intermittent fast or something like that. So I'm like, dude, and it's good, it's smooth, the stuff we have, this little Keurig. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm good. I have a cup a day and be straight now.
Been talking about the
You know what I'm
Keurig.
saying? Yeah, she's been talking about it, but she like to add the sweeteners in it, and it tastes so good. But then you look at some of the stuff that's in there
in it.
today, and creamer
Shoot shots.
and other stuff. So, but the point is,
Low
we like a little
sugar
different. But
creamer.
the point is, it is low carb and all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
all the things.
So we changed.
So, but with that being said, though, it doesn't necessarily have to be a different type of association. It still tastes good.
Right.
Like people are like, oh, kale is just nasty.
Oh,
It's called seasoning. Some people don't know how to season stuff.
Oh.
Anyway, again, we know what to do. Somebody just said it. Listen, basically, you eat better and you move. Eat better and move more.
Yeah, simple.
exactly.
Diet and exercise, right? We know this thing, except people don't like diets, probably because in the word diet is the word die, the first 3 letters. But it's changing the lifestyle. So when it comes to smoking, all these other things,
Mhm.
what do you really want? You heard Coach Fatimah say, I want to be here and actually be a physical grandparent
Okay.
whenever our children decide to get married and have children and stuff like that. You want to be functional,
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's important. So there's a necessity. There's something there that's driving. There's some type of internal motivation. It's not our job to find your motivation. We can't do that. We can maybe help inspire you, point you in some type of direction,
Mhm.
but your energy affects every other part of your life. And that's determined really by the quality of your health. So people right now that are succumbing and dying and stuff like that with COVID related stuff already have compromised immune systems. So whether it's diabetes or obesity and these things, they already have something going on. So the challenge is that many of the people are digging their graves with their teeth. So it's what you're putting inside you. I had a physical trainer once. He was like, look, bro, abs are made in the kitchen. No matter how many ab exercises you could do, they made in the kitchen. So it's what you're putting inside your body, if that's what you desire. Again, when we're talking about causes of death, I mean, you got the heart, you got the cancer, you got obesity, you have all these different types of things, and they come down to little things done on a daily basis. So what can we do? Let's, just talk about what can we do over, this time now. What are some little small things you can do to help get on the better track for health? Because it affects everything, not only your personal relationships, it affects your ability to worship properly, to think without being cloudy, to get what's called the itis, because of the types of food you're eating, your body needing to break this down, and, releasing a lot more hormonal chemicals in your body that make you feel bad. Literally, it's a chemical reaction that occurs. More cortisol getting released, no dopamine, less oxytocin. So your cocktail of happiness doesn't come around when you're sucking on a whole bunch of meat to begin with.
Yeah.
So that's
we
just
kicked that
one
to the
example.
curb.
What are some things? What are some tips?
Yeah,
What can they do?
like I gave a couple of things, which, of course, is the changing the association of the negative things, or that type of thing. Of course, doing the things you love to do, like as far as being active, like I like to dance. So, sometimes people look at fitness or exercise in terms of something that's just total strenuous, that's very strenuous or anything like that. But one, I like to think ahead and like, this is what I'm going to look like and feel like later. So that's what kind of keeps me motivated. Plus I like doing things fun. So if I find anything, and there's so many things on YouTube, like I said, we don't have a lack of information. There's a lot, you can pick any type of YouTube fitness person on there and throw it on and you're good. So for free,
right,
consistently. So that's that thing. Like I say, eating better, and intermittent fasting is actually one of the things that I think is really great. Even if
Underrated.
it's very underrated. And it's a person that talks about, well, you'll see it all over. Just look it up. It says metabolize Mondays or metabolism Mondays or something like that, where there are different groups that actually intermittent fast on Monday. So they do once a week intermittent 24-hour fast on Mondays. So yeah, that's kind of, some really quick takeaway tips that they could do.
I think in addition to that, well, I wanted to just add that. So if Coach Nyla says she likes to dance and that's cardio, That's just not goofing around. It takes energy to do. We know that.
Sweat.
I don't, but don't think that your physical exercise is going to look like somebody else's. It doesn't have to, but you got to move. So I like hitting the treadmill with something in my headphones and getting my arms moving. And I might stay on there an hour, I might stay on a half hour, I might stay on there 10 minutes. But I don't use free weights a lot, but I use the treadmill. So, but you are still moving your body. That's the point. And you have to move your body. If you can't, well, we all three of us have been on a weight loss journey, but we all started at different weights because he don't have 200 and some pound wives. He didn't have that to begin with, but his goal weight loss might be different than mine, might be different than Coach Nyla. So it's making a decision to want to feel better. And what does it look like for you? All three of our exercises, all the stuff that we do as individuals is different from the other one. Outside of intermittent fasting, we all have done that. It does work. We've all gotten results from it. And you can check into it. You don't have to necessarily take our word for it, but we know we're lighter than we were last year.
Well, also helps with my brain fog. If I know that I'm forgetful or a lot of stuff like that, I'm like, what have I been eating? What have I been doing? And that happened like about a week or so ago. And I realized for about 2 weeks, I wasn't moving as much. I moved around, but I wasn't working out. Like 2 weeks, not working out, not eating, like I should have been eating. I'll eat probably like once a day, and I'll snack, and snack on crap. And and I felt that, and I was forgetting things, and it was a lot of different stuff. And not saying that it's always about eating, because it could be another underlying issue. But first, look at your diet. Look at what you're putting into your body. Look at what you're putting, putting into yourself.
Exactly.
And if that changes, then a lot of times is what it is. It reminds me of when Will Smith was talking with his family when he did the whole family intervention thing with the health stuff. They were on a break, or they were on a vacation, family vacation. He was eating a bunch of these little muffins or whatever it was that he was like, they were so delicious. And then he was drinking alcohol, and apparently he put on about 10 pounds or so, or whatever, 10, 15 pounds. And his wife and his daughter was teasing him. He was like, oh, nah, I can't do this because I'm so used to looking a certain way. So I'm going to, I'm going to get on this thing. So he fasted. He said, I'm going to do a 10-day fast. He did this 10-day fast, and I think he said like day 2 or day 3 or something. He was getting like really sluggish, weak, lightheaded, and everything like that. And he was like, I don't understand what's going on. Found out that his blood pressure dropped super low. And he was like, you know what? No, I'm going to lose this weight. So what I'm going to do is...
He was on high blood pressure medication.
Yeah, he was on high blood pressure medication. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to not take this high blood pressure medication while I'm doing this fast. And he realized he felt the best he's ever felt. He said he knew how to eat and do stuff to make himself look good, but he never knew what to do to feel good until he did the fast and dropped his blood pressure medication and was able to get off his blood pressure medication because of it.
Indeed. Now, there's some resources that people ask about and they look for. So what I would suggest for personal study and resources, a really, really good book by our sister Mubarak Ibrahim.
Yes.
Right? It's called The 40-Day Guide to Reset Your Metabolism, Lose Weight, and Optimize Your Health. It's called the MR40 method. Really, really, really good. I mean, she's been in fitness and health and certifications everywhere and still does it to this day. And so check her book out, Mubarak Ibrahim. We'll put some link in there. And if you get our, if you're on an email list, which you should be at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com, then we'll send her information and stuff out for you. But Fatimah, she also notes what's important. Talking about different supplements and things that we don't normally get from our food many times, because a lot of our food comes through the traditional industrial process and warehouse and loses a lot of value, and things get shipped and picked before it's even ripe and everything else, because we're not growing our own food in general, and it's shipped all across the country. But vitamins like vitamin C, turmeric, ginger, lemon, lime, and numerous other things, which a lot of it's covered in Mubarak's book. Okay. Health-wise, personally, as a man I follow, and he does male and female stuff physiologically, is Thomas DeLauer on YouTube. So he's a really big fasting advocate, many different types of diets, including keto, which really helped us with our brains. And there's a really good documentary too, The Magic Pill on Netflix. Y'all gotta watch that. I mean, really check it out, watch it, study it, take the good, leave the bad. Stuff. No, you gotta backslide. So,
Dating us.
but that could definitely help. I mean, because it's our own personal study. Taking something as a fad or just one time or not, what's the purpose? You know, if you're just gonna just revert to something else, then that's a lack of discipline. And being adults, you know, we have responsibility to make good decisions for us and our families and move forward and correct ourselves when we're not right. So all we can do is direct towards information. You decide what's right for you and your body. Your body's gonna tell you. You'll feel much better if your body's running off ketones versus running off glucose. A lot less forgetting, a lot less mixing up things and stuff like that. I mean, you will actually feel very good. It's all this chemical reaction. Another person I would definitely suggest is getting your breathing down with Wim Hof, WIMHOF. We used to think that, or at least the medical field used to teach that we have an autonomous immune system. So you really can't affect it. However, he's proved that our immune system is an adaptive immune system where just by simply breathing, using certain breathing techniques, you can affect the gray matter in your brain. He's done it under scientific stuff. So he's been at Johns Hopkins University, at Harvard, Yale. This guy's not a doctor, but is showing improving how we are really just lacking in understanding our physiology and the power that we do have to combat many different things. So, of course, use that. I mean, it's huge. So Wim Hof, Bartek Ibrahim, Thomas DeLauer, those are three that I would suggest to study and get on right away. Then we do have some questions. I know if you have anybody else that you will follow exercise-wise or health and diet-wise that you might want to suggest. Help too.
Well, I dabble in Beachbody stuff. So I like beachbody.com. You can pick and choose any type of thing that I think it's Beachbody on Demand, beachbodyondemand.com or something like that. And I pick and choose whatever workout that I'm feeling that day. So yes, we are saying things that that we use and that we like and things as far as that. We're not doctors, but we all grown here. So don't sit there and do something and say, well, Coach Nyla and Coach Nazir has said, no, we're giving you some suggestions. And the thing is, it's up to you to take what works for you and move forward on that.
And I was a Tybo nut, a Tybo fool. And
He just came back out with something too.
Billy's tough to
Quarantine.
keep
Wow,
up with.
see?
He's tough to keep up with, but you go at your own, your own pace, which is good. The breathing is important with Wim Hof because I had what is that thing called? An MRI. And with the heart cardio MRI, they will make you take these huge breaths and release them repeatedly. Then they take the picture. And I said, now, why are they making me fill myself up with oxygen? Because it affects your heart. It affects the picture. It affects the MRI. So moving air properly is super important. And that man he's on another level. He just is. So check him out. Check them all out.
Yeah, Wim Hof is a beast. Don't worry. Tommy's gone from the chat for those of you on YouTube. Yeah, it's hilarious. Sometimes you get trolls and things they work with, but
It was
enough
funny.
of that
'cause I
energy
ain't
is gone.
see him, so
Yeah,
bye.
no doubt. It's all love. It's all good. So anything else on that?
I think that's it.
Okay, so we have this. We have a few questions. If you have some questions too, you could post them in the comments. We'll be here for another 10 minutes or so. And if you're not on our email list, just to let you know that we got a very, very special. We got two big announcements coming up this week. So if you're not on the list, y'all gonna be on the late show, which is cool. It's still part of the show. If you're on the late show, you might just miss some stuff. That's all.
Or the after party.
Okay, here. Okay, so one of our Hebrew Israelite followers hit us up, says shalom and greetings, coaches. So this question is regarding young daughters. As fathers to daughters, how do you prepare your daughters for marriage mentally, spiritually, etc.? And what do you teach her about how she should treat and take care of her? How he should treat and take care of her. What's going on, Mom?
He can't.
I got glucose
read
going
good.
on this morning? Okay, because it was to me, so I didn't say like the Coach Nazir part. So it says Coach Nazir.
Right.
And then it looked like it might be a different accent going on with it because there's certain words missing. So as a father to daughters, how do you prepare your daughters for marriage mentally, spiritually, etc.? And what do you teach her about how he should treat and take care of her? Yeah, that's better. Okay. So basically, here's the deal. As a Muslim, it's not hard to do, to find this information. One is because stuff from Prophet ﷺ, and peace and blessings be upon him. and he was the best example for mankind. So we look at his life, you look at what he did, you look at his companions, you look at the best generation of that time, and you emulate that yourself. So I demonstrate that how a husband is supposed to treat his wife by treating my wives well. Okay, so one, they're gonna trust what they see over what they hear any day. I'm not a believer in do what I say do, don't do what I do. My father told me that was one of the dumbest things ever.
Yeah.
It was so hypocritical, and I recognize that at 5 years old. Don't do what I do, do as I say do. Okay, so don't smoke your cigarettes. You smoking cigarettes. So when he was gone, took a little butt back in them days. They had ashtrays, and people probably still have ashtrays. I guess smokers probably still do something. I don't know, but ashtrays is all over the place. Both of my parents smoked, and period. So mom still smoking. So I picked up a cigarette, tried to puff when I'm like 5 years old. Why? Because he did that. Choked. I was like, this is stupid, and tried to get a teenager. This is stupid. And that's the end of that. Didn't have to smoke. That was that. But again, you demonstrated. All right, that's more influential and persuasive, and they see that you can still have your identity, still be a man, still be a husband and a father, regardless. And you have your ups and downs. It's not anything with perfection. Yeah, treat their mothers well, right? Yeah, they're not going to deny that. But at the same time, that don't mean we get along all the time either. Still human.
Facts.
Okay, so and the beauty in that is recognizing that even the best example I told you about Prophet Muhammad, he had arguments and stuff with his wives. Okay, now he wasn't the one that necessarily was getting up and extra emotional, but even the best of creation still had challenges and issues in his marriages. So it's human, but we look to that, and so we have that. That's one of the blessings we have in Islam. So we could look there. One, and then of course the other part is to really know what your values are. Know what your personal and your core values are, and what you want to align with that in a spouse versus trying to change for them or them for you, unless that change is something that's necessary and important. There's nothing wrong with change as long as it's going in the right direction. Yeah, we all change. You're not going to just stay the same. It's an evolution and a maturity that should happen. But if you have some strong core values that are part of you, and and you're not going to bend on those, and they don't need to bend, then stand firm on that. Opportunities are going to come. With 7 billion people on the planet, there's more than enough opportunity, mathematically speaking, to find someone that can help support you and to be right. So that's my job as a wali and a guardian, to help find qualified husbands to marry my daughters.
There it is, qualified.
That's not easy at all. So I empathize and sympathize with sisters out here trying to get married and find husbands from a very small pool of people. One, that you're attracted to. Number two, that's going to treat you right, not beat on you or take advantage of you or something like that. 3, that are manly men. At least most women, I would assume, want a masculine man, not some little soft feminine man, but who knows? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Then that don't have those feminine things going on where they are gay or DL and that type of stuff going on, or other issues where they want to get married because they're behind bars. There's a lot of stuff sisters really have to consider. Let alone, of course, you talking about Muslim sisters, as my daughters are, they're going to marry Muslim men. So there's a whole big old thing when it comes to that point. And then to the sisters, do you have a question as well?
Something before you get into that I liked. A brother had approached our husband about our daughter, and he asked him one question to begin with, and he asked him, remember you asked him what time he prayed?
Yeah.
Which prayer was it? It
was Fajr today.
It was Fajr. He didn't know. So the conversation didn't have to keep going on and on and on. So I know where your priorities are. You don't know what time the first salat comes in for the day. Every day, conversation was done. We need to go forward talking about marriage to our daughter.
Yeah, I'm not going, as long as I'm alive, as long as our brothers are alive, they're not going to be.
But I like that. It was something that was one question, but it was effective. He gave his answer. That's it. So I think sometimes we overthink a lot of the things that go on with our children when they want to get married or when somebody wants to marry them. Sometimes we just have a simple little question. That's it. But I like that, and I needed to tell him.
Mentally, spiritually. And what do you teach her about how he should treat her and take care of her? She already got the example. Even if I never existed, Allah forbid I die before that time comes, then she already got the best example to follow. And the Prophet for clarity. Coach Fatimah, as mothers to daughters, how do you teach your husband's daughters to receive her husband and how he is to be treated and taken care of.
Oh,
So-
that's really cute that it said your husband's daughter's like, that's cute.
Yeah.
I was just
How do
like,
you,
there are
how do you
daughters
treat
too.
your daughters? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? How do you, yeah, that's whatever.
But
So,
I mean-
yeah.
But it's the answer still is the same. Like it's the same around the board, whether it's what you teach and whether what we teach is consistent and is leading by example. That's that thing. I read like a post or like a meme, and it said one of the things is though is like you have to know what's going on, knowing you say know your value and all that other good stuff, and know your values and what you
Right.
what you are willing to. I don't say what you're willing to have in your life and everything like that, but no, you got to know your values, what you stand firm on, and stand firm on these values and things as far as that. However, I saw a thing that said, if you something about following, don't marry a person you're not willing to follow, or don't marry a man whose leadership you aren't willing to follow. It was something along the lines of that. And I was like, so true. Facts, because you have a lot of people that butt heads, have some issues, different things like that. And then you already know that he ain't the person that a lot of women, and I've heard it all around the board. I'm gonna change him.
Oh, please.
I'm gonna change him. You know what? He got this, that he don't got this, but that part right there, you don't like that part. That part is an issue. It could be a deal breaker, but you think you're gonna change that part. No, you know what I'm saying? You are not gonna be able to change this person. They're gonna change whatever they want to change. And that's the thing. Like the main thing is being able to speak to my daughters, speak to our daughters, being transparent in what issues, because we weren't always Muslim. So they're, yes, they're Muslim and we're raising
Wasn't
them
always
Muslim,
their mother.
but there are issues, right?
Sure.
That too. So there are things that we have experienced in men, whether they're Muslim or not. People are still people, regardless.
Right.
So these different things, and having them be aware of what stuff look like. What does manipulation look like? What does control look like? These different things, right? But also knowing that as a woman, this is the one thing that I do talk to the girls about. As a woman, we are very strong. We are very strong. We are the people that our husbands should be able to come home to from this crazy world or whatever the case may be, and be their comfort, be their strength, be their this. We should work together, be their peace, right? So
PEACE. The other one too, but PEAC is what you talk about.
So that part is one of the main things that I think is missing sometimes when we are trying to teach our daughters how to be women as well as how to be wives.
And I would just say this too: our daughters are, we don't like to talk about this stuff, but our daughters are not all grown, but in the, they're accountable in Islam for what they do. But our daughters are women of color. So when I especially when we talk to them, they're aware of that. They know that. They don't run from it. And they know they come from grandmothers that are strong, and they might not be Muslim, but they have wisdom in them too. So we like to try to instill what being a woman means. It doesn't mean you're weak. So even when the girls were little, they were in like kung fu classes. We didn't want them to have to wait on a guy to come rescue them from danger. Our daughters, they know how to take care of themselves, and they stick up for each other. Daughters, bonus babies, either way it goes. They have each other too to lean on, and they have us. So even if we're not physically with them and they're out together, they have each other. So there's a sisterhood within, us being in a polygynous relationship, and all of us, are having our individual marriages. The girls know they have each other's backs, when we're out. You got beef with one of them, you got beef with all of them. So
Indeed. All right.
I love that.
Now we have a few different questions we're gonna address, right? And we gotta make it move. But Fatimah mentioned, she said, unfortunately, Black community suffers from high levels of stress related to poverty, disproportionate to the healthcare system. and please share any information with the community on staying safe from COVID-19. I see this huge problem in Milwaukee area. Thank you guys so much. May Allah continue to reward your family. Likewise, oversee. I mean, so yes. Well, I'm in Milwaukee. The numbers. Jim, what's his name? Reggie Jackson just did a chart regarding what's going on in COVID-19. So if you look at Reggie Jackson, Google it. Look at Milwaukee. I shared it on Facebook if we're connected. I think it's public. But he just went over the stats with it. Fact is, one person under 50 died from those complications. However, everybody that died over 50 or older had some type of other issues. Now, here's my thing on COVID-19. It's a bad cold. It is what it is. I believe I had it back in the end of January, early February. We sat and interviewed an infectious disease doctor here who dealt with that, Ebola, SARS, all kinds of other stuff. And he pretty much broke it down, on what it is. So with that being said, there was a time, and I look back, you can look back on a YouTube channel, for example, where I couldn't even participate in a live or two because I couldn't talk. My voice, all the stuff was gone. High fever, 103.9. That lasted like almost a week. And then just coughing, non-productive cough, nothing was coming up. No sinus issues, none of that stuff. And then shortness of breath. I was even trying to use children's inhaler, trying to, get some sanity there. But that lasted about 2 weeks. It was gone. It ran through most of the family and stuff like that before we knew anything about coronavirus and all that. So personally, I think, I already had it. And we recovered, as most people will recover. But we are in a city, like she mentioned, Milwaukee, where Wisconsin just had an election during the pandemic because the Republican-controlled Senate and Supreme Court here and whatnot decided that, it's a safer at home order, but y'all get out there and do the thing. And Milwaukee is really devastating here because of the system that we have in place with the current mayor for 16 years, who continues white supremacy on every single level. He ran from 4 debate opportunities from the Black woman who was running, who actually should be our mayor. And we won't get those results until tomorrow, but we already know what the results are going to be. It's no surprise when you live somewhere that I call Jim Crow North, that locks up more Black people, for example. That's your number one thing is farming Black people, if you will, for this prison industrial complex than any other state in the country per capita. There's a lot going on. So we can't be expected to get much in terms of any metric here. So the Huffington Post, New York Times, they all shared the different stats and metrics, whether it's employment or education or healthcare, incarceration, all of these different things that bring about your quality of life or, income disparity, where white folks is more than twice as much as Black people here in the city of Milwaukee in particular. So all of these things are prevalent and important. But one of the things that one of the reasons we're talking about health, and last week we dealt with spiritual health and now we deal with physical, because it affects every other part of your life. It affects how you operate physically and mentally and emotionally and, connecting with other people, and it affects you, period. There are people that chase money their whole life abusing their health and then end up trying to use all that money to get their health back. And it doesn't make much sense. So it's imperative to study up on it, to know how our body feels, to know what makes it work properly, to understand how to eat better for us, and make those decisions to live, all right, and to live fully. So again, the book I recommended, the different YouTube channels, I would suggest getting on that, making it a life study, listen to audiobooks, get on some YouTube channels and make the changes. I mean, if you make 3/100ths of a change, 3/100% of one change, that's less than 1% a day. But 3/100, just every 3 days, you change 1% for the better. After a year, you would have changed 100%. So again, it makes a difference, but it's the little things that are done consistently. But I do want to jump to, brother, people have some questions. All right. Ali says, all right, Shalom, Coach Nazir. How would you advise a brother who is facing divorce? For context, the wife spoke to him of not wanting poly prior to marriage, but years later, he brought it up in hopes of changing her mind. How would you also advise a sister, as she seems to think she is not wrong for asking for a divorce, considering she informed him of her stance prior to marrying? Well, Brother Ali, how to advise a brother who's facing divorce? Well, you agreed to that, bro. You can speak about it all you want, but you agreed to that. And if you agreed to that, then she has a right to request it. She's not at fault for that. That's the way she feels. Y'all discussed it and stuff like that. So I can't say she's necessarily wrong for that. You might be a good dude. She might feel you're reneging on something. It can be looked at as that. If I'm the wali of a daughter that says, listen, I don't want to practice polygyny, then she can't stop him from practicing it, first of all. Right. So she can't tell you cannot marry again. All right, Islamically, that's invalid. You can't do that. All right. However, you can say, I want the option to leave or what have you in my contract, should he decide such. All right, because you can't make anything haram that Allah has made halal. We don't do that.
Exactly.
It's not a different religion. This ain't man-made. Okay. So, but if you discuss that and you agree to that, that's your word. You have to have that contract. Now you can speak and try to change your mind and all of that. I mean, that's normal. That's noble to at least speak on it and try to come to an agreement to see if she will change her mind. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. So you would have to make a decision on whether or not you're willing to sacrifice that for your hopes in marrying again. If you marry again, you're just gonna probably be single again. You'll just be married to one woman again. It wouldn't really be practicing poly or polygyny. So, I can't advise anything different than other than either keeping your word or at least trying to have a conversation to see if there's even an option to change your mind. I can't advise her anything different because again, if it was my daughter and just speaking with contracts and understanding, it is what it is. I didn't, when I got married, we weren't talking about polygyny. We were new to Islam and stuff like that. And so, we didn't know anything. We didn't know anything about really marriage contracts and what to put and how to do. We didn't know much. We were ignorant to it. But regardless, I mean, that's my situation. So, whether a sister wants to be in a polygynous relationship or not, that's really up to her to determine. Even if you didn't discuss it, and then now you're discussing polygyny, and now she's like, oh, well, I want to leave, do this and that. Sometimes it's feigning and wanting the extra pity and other things that go along with it. Other times it's real, So,
exactly.
Depending on the circumstances of the situation, your situation in particular says that, hey, we got married. We had already talked about that. Then we got married. Well, if you got married and you already talked about that, had an agreement, and you want to come back with it, you got to look at it as like somebody came back to you in the same fashion. Whether you had a contract to buy something, they come back and try to switch it around, you would be offended and upset by it. So I'm misunderstanding her position. So if you're asking me that as the man, what can I say other than you have to honor your word commitment or convince her otherwise? I can't, that's again, yeah, right. I agree. It's not easy. And there's another question you want to answer. Address. It says, Salam alaikum, Islam, humble believer. We often hear horror stories of 5-year divorce, 7-year itch, and a routine marriage. As marriage coaches, why do you think many marriages end? And what are each of your tips in making it last?
Well, first of all, even with this last question, when we got married, I didn't know he was going to change, and he didn't know I was either. So if I could tell my younger self a thing about marriage, I would tell myself, you're not going to stay the same, and he's not going to stay the same. So your expectations of each other may change, and what you want to do with your individual lives may change. Your personality is going to change. All these things are going to change because we were evolving. And I didn't know it because I was 20. I mean, I didn't really know what was going on. There weren't a lot of things out there, a lot of resources. And a lot of the people that were in my life were of divorces that were really horrible. So the things they were saying were negative. So I had to learn along the way that it's okay to let somebody change if they're changing for the better. So if I can give you that, understand that as long as you both are changing for the best, that's a good thing. But if you're changing for the worst, you need to reevaluate what's going on within your marriage, because things can happen, can go from 0 to 60, and then you feel blindsided. But see if the beginning of those things is something good or something bad, or changing for the better or they're changing for the worse. So, I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay, so were you going to address the second question?
What was
The
it?
7-year itch thing and monotony, or you want to address that?
Yeah, because
So we often hear horror stories about 5-year divorce, 7-year itch, and routine marriage. As marriage coaches, why do you think many fail? What are your tips to make it last?
That's actually that part of why do you think many fail is kind of a hard question, because it could be a number of things, but a lot of times we do hear where it's lack of growth together, lack of communication, sometimes the selfishness of, and I'm not saying people shouldn't be selfish, but the selfishness I always look at it should be towards the greater good, whether it's you doing well for you, so the family can benefit. Because when you marry, it doesn't become just I anymore. It's we. And not that you shouldn't worry about I and me and this and that and the other. It's just that now it's other things that come into play. There's other people that come into play. So I think a lot of it is still to the point of that people still have the single mindset, so to speak, where, and I'm not talking about other things that could be abuse and neglect and these other crazy things like that. I mean, as relationships or marriages that have failed, and people are wondering, like, okay, where did we go wrong? Or say irreconcilable differences or something on the lines of that. A lot of times it comes into play that a lot of it comes from, well, this is what I expected, this is what I've seen, or this is what I thought it was going to be, and it's not the way I want it to be. And either one or both parties aren't willing to work on making it better. So they decide that it's just best to go their separate ways.
Okay, my take is, we talk about the 5-year divorce, 7-year itch, and the roots in your marriage is growth. Growth is very important. Growth means you're going in a certain direction and you're growing in a certain direction. And without proper growth, how are you going to stay, I was going to say relevant, but how are you going to stay keeping engaged? Meaning that if you're with someone, right, and you're growing, you're learning, you're moving forward, you're going in this direction, you're getting stuff done, right? But the other person is chill, stuck in the 80s. Say, you want to watch a new movie or use new technology. Here's a cell phone, but they want to stick with the rotary phone. There's going to be a problem. And I know I'm using technology. It's not the best example. But some people just like, listen, you know what? I'm going to be AOL or dot. Give me my Hotmail email address account, and that's that. Like, what's the problem? You have to continue growing. All right. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. You're not going up, you're down. We don't stay static. Time continues to move. Even as we're speaking right now, as fast as the earth is continuing to swim throughout this universe, we're not in the same place we were seconds ago. We're dying right now. Cells are dying within our bodies, just our other cells are being created and formed. So, and we're heading in the direction. We know the direction that we're going to. With every breath we take, we're closer to death. All right. So personal growth is a challenge, whether it's learning something together, doing stuff with adventures. There's only, I think it's like 13 months. It's like called this newlywed phase, right? But it's a 13-month thing where your hormones get to being back normal versus when you first met a person and had these feelings of falling in love and all this nostalgia. I forget the name of it, but it's hilarious. But it's like a 13-month thing. So how do you keep things spontaneous? How do you continue to grow together? Well, there's a great book called The Charge. You should check it out by Brendon Burchard. Really, really good book. You can get the audio book and all stuff as well. It's called The Charge, the 10 human drives make you feel alive. One of the reasons we talk about and deal with relationships, because when you have great human connecting relationships, that increases the value and the quality of your life. All right. Despite, people thinking it's external with all kinds of money and all kinds of other things, it's the quality of the relationships you have in your life, really starting with you. So when you ask yourself good questions versus, what is happening to me, versus a question like, what lesson can I learn from this? Or we're looking right now at a pandemic and people are at home and, some people just can't take it. Well, how can I get to learn if you're at home alone, what are the skills and things that I said I didn't have time for that I can now do? I can use that as a blessing versus using it as a curse, or getting to learn the people that I'm around more, or learning how to do different things now in the home that I used to have to do out of the home. So the quality of life is also depending on the quality of questions you ask yourself. So how is that relationship with you going? What you like about yourself, bro? You know what I'm saying? How can I go ahead and become more disciplined now? What are the novelties I didn't have time for? What languages did I want to learn? How can I prepare for Ramadan? How can I make this my best Ramadan, even though it's likely I'm not going to be able to go to the masjid for Tarawih or even Salatul Jum'ah? What can I do now? You know, I'm not going to be going to iftars and hosting iftars. And what's going on? How can I now? Basically, you have an itikaf in your own house for the whole of Ramadan. But asking yourself these questions versus complaining about it is important. That's your personal growth. And to be able to do that with someone else helps you grow together, to lean on each other, to be each other's strengths. So growing together is important. Learning together is important. These are some tips. One, to stay together. Why do many of them end? Well, she mentioned growing apart. One, there was a study, there was an article I read dealing with people who have been married over 25 years who eventually got divorced. And they stated that the number one common theme amongst all of these people that have been married, again, 25 years or more, who eventually got divorced, was that there was a lack of respect. There was a lack of respect that occurred. So even, you know, just saying thank you for a meal, or it tastes good, or giving that compliment, or recognizing the small things that are done, when that goes out the window and a person doesn't feel appreciated, this is also similarly the number one reason for job dissatisfaction. They don't feel they add personal value, or it's not being recognized at the job. So there's no loyalty with the employees. So this feeling, this lack of respect that goes, it's not infidelity, it's not lack of financial means, it's actually just disrespect. How you help a person feel one way or the other. It's not neutral. So we have to be conscious of that in our compliments or reminding or, you know, getting different things spontaneously or just because you want to be intentional. And these are, again, some basic things you can learn, whether in charge, you get some different ideas. So, you know, invest that in yourself. It's like 13, 14 bucks or something, right? So sister asked, alaikum assalam too, Kauthar. She says, would you advise a sister to always have a marriage contract for her nikah, for the wedding? I hear people saying it shows you don't trust that person and people not wanting to sign it. Would you encourage children to have marriage contracts?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I mean,
Without question.
right.
Yeah, that's should be unanimous. Like, right, of course. You know why you have a contract? You have a contract because the person needs to fulfill what they say they're going to do. And you can hold them to that in writing with witnesses. All right, that's the Islamic way to do it, period. Period. There's no question about what I said or what I heard or what. No, that's there for protection.
Yeah.
Okay, it's there for protection.
Absolutely.
Just like you want to go get your car fixed and all of a sudden now there's 14 different things done with it. They want to charge you a whole bunch more, but the piece of paper said, this is what I wanted, this is how much it costs. You know, you bring up that contract, right? That work contract. So yeah, that's imperative. If you're not willing to do it, that lets me know a lot about you. So you are not the one. So if somebody's not willing to sign it, not willing to do it, then they're likely just running game. Like they say, men are seduced by their eyes and women are seduced by their ears. So that means men at what they see and women in what they hear. And they can tell you anything, but it becomes real when it's now manifest on a piece of paper. Yeah. When there's a contract and you have other witnesses also to help keep people accountable. That's what it's for. You know what I'm saying? I don't know a landlord. We're landlords. I don't know a landlord that is going, yeah, I'll go ahead and rent the house. It's fine. We don't need a contract or a lease or anything. What? Doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? You want to have a lease with the person, knowing what your rights are, responsibilities, when stuff is due, when it's not, what happens if something gets broken, and what responsibilities are. That's basic. So if a person isn't willing to do the basics, then they're a basic person, probably not somebody you want to be with. Just a thought. Anything else on that?
No, that's pretty.
All right, good stuff. All right, if you're not already connected with us on outstandingpersonalrelationships.com, please do so you get the announcement that's going on. That's going to happen. What's today? 12th? I'm going to say it on 15th. Like 14th to the 15th, we're going to release something to you. Actually, two big announcements that are coming up. So we're excited about that. Let me look at this, what's going on over here real quick with let me see. Oh, just pause. Okay, no problem. All right, that's the end of that. All right, cool. Yeah, we went a little longer than we wanted to go today. So let me wrap it up and stop talking. Appreciate you being here. Outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. Please get on the email list. Share this video. If you're watching on YouTube, like it. If you're not, subscribe, like it, get the bell for notifications. And we shall see you with our announcement this week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Hooray. Good job.
Hallucination. Missed that one.